I would like to introduce to you the first speakers for the panel session. We have Budreya Faisal, CEO of Ghost Concept and President Banaat Football Club. We have Fabrizio Puglisi, founder and CEO of Juventus Academy. We have today with us Greta Nardeschi, Regional Director, MENA, AC Milan. And we have with us today Mohamed Harb, Head of Sports and Gaming at TikTok. So first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's great to have you all. So I would like to start with a question for Budreya. Budreya, yours is really a story of a vision, a revolutionary project, if we may say so. And it's a dream and intuition built on years of marketing and communication experience that you have. What is the direction that Banaat Football Club is heading in? In general, how do you see the transformation underway in sports in this country, in the UAE?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Banaat FC as a new club and the first official club in its capacity in Dubai was launched in only August. So we're a very, very young club. To speak about our future, it's full of optimism and dreams because we're very young and fresh. We've hit quite a few milestones already for this short timeline, but we have very big dreams. And the dreams aren't, I wouldn't say they aren't so out of reach considering how strong this country represents sports and pushes sports, especially football as the national sport. So seeing how it is a top priority here, obviously when it comes to men's football. We haven't had the interest in women's football as of yet, but I thought now is the perfect time to start a club like this, because we have had women's football actually since 2005 here, and we were very strong back then, especially as a national team. But it was time with the world moving towards so much attention for women's sports altogether. And of course, what we saw with the World Cup, it was time for us to do something to shake things up a little bit here. And there were a lot more, I think, cultural reasons and barriers for the lack of, let's say, fast development or growth of the sport on a club level. Which we've decided to build into the DNA of Banaat FC to help kind of change the mindset.
I would like to understand what's the participation in football among women, because I'd like to understand if there are any challenges also for us women that you see for the coming years when it comes to football.
So for me, as someone who is relatively new to women's football, I think my expectations weren't high, is what I'm going to say, for the numbers of participants or interested parties in women's football when I started. But we did something as simple as putting on a form on our website after we did a cool launch of the club with GQ, and we made it fancy and everything, got people interested.
Nice.
We just put a form online, and to date, I've had 480
Wow.
UAE-based registrants, which is great because, and they're from all over the UAE. So I was very surprised to see many names from the Northern Emirates. So from Fujairah, Chelba, Ras Al Khaimah, a lot from there, a lot from Al Ain and Abu Dhabi, more so than Dubai when it comes to Emiratis. But there are a lot of Emirati women that are interested in football, with a lot of barriers stopping them from actually being able to play. The biggest barrier, I'd say, which I don't know if you caught before my freezing bit earlier, was cultural. So the cultural barrier and families accepting for women to play and for their daughters to
Exactly.
play, that is quite difficult here, and it differs per region. So every emirate has its challenges, and it's changing, and that's what I'm trying to do with Banaat FC, is to actually show them a new way to look at women's football, with the modesty being ingrained in our club, the way that the girls behave and have to behave, whether they're online or offline at any time, if they're connected to the club, because we need to be positive role models. And like I said, bring people along with us for this change some mindsets. But the interest is massive. We are now we're close to launching, speaking of academies, we're close to launching our own academy. And
Amazing.
I've realized already that we have 50 girls from this month alone, 50 girls that are just waiting for an update on our
Start.
open day. Exactly. And I haven't even properly announced it yet. So it's things are changing. There are a lot more academies popping up. Abu Dhabi is doing great things for women's football. It's mainly been the hub for women's football in the UAE. But if you look at what's happening in Saudi as well, Saudi has
Exactly.
changed, and all it took was a decision, and obviously money. But it needs to come from upstairs. A decision needs to come to say we are now going to invest in women's football. We're now going to support it. We're going to prioritize it. Once that comes, the people will follow. But I'm doing things the other way. So until that really comes, we're trying to work our way up and bring people with us.
That's very good. Thank you so much, Budreya. Since we have Mohammed Harb connected from TikTok, I know, Budreya, that you have a partnership with TikTok. So I would like to understand your point of view in terms of visibility. How do you see your values, their values? Why did you guys decided to partner? So then we can also have the perspective of Mohammed to joining us in the panel.
So TikTok was a huge milestone for us, having them as a jersey sponsor, a title sponsor, and currently being the only club in the Arab world. I don't know, correct me, Mo, if I'm wrong, but the only club with TikTok on the jersey. I think what it does is delivers a message that the appeal that everyone is seeing online for global women's football from brands, how everyone has caught on, everyone's interested, everyone's supporting, everyone's invested for commercial reasons as well. That now also applies here, and that sends a very important message to women's football in the entire Arab region. That the brands are interested, the brands are watching, and the brands are supporting. And if the likes of TikTok are doing it, everyone else needs to catch up. That's my take, and it's actually done a lot for us since we've had it. I mean, you just tell people you have TikTok as a jersey sponsors, and they want to talk to you. So it brings on more sponsors, and that was a big part of the strategy, which Mo very much supported, and he's been one of my supporters from day one. I'll tell you that he's believed in me. The second I said Banaat FC, okay, we're in. So he knew and he saw and he believed from day one. And that's more important than any amount of money any company puts in a brand, because this is exactly the kind of support that women's football needs here now.
Exactly. So, Mohammed, tell us your point of view of this collaboration with Banaat Football Club so we can really see the TikTok perspective about this.
Thank you for hosting me. And Banaat FC represents something that TikTok is always like trying to prove, which is in the field of inclusion, diversity, and even empowerment for women. And at the level of football, football brings everybody together, but women football isn't like actually what everybody is looking into or supporting. The sad truth about football, which is the best thing in the universe, is it's men's football at this stage. And TikTok just wanted to actually be faithful to what it represents as to inclusion and diversity and empowering an entrepreneur like Badriya, great initiative like Women's Football Club, and she's exploring more opportunities in the academy wise or like some other initiatives. And we will be there for Badriya and for everybody who believes that football is one way to actually level up or elevate the whole society, right? And why Banaat FC? It's not just because I believe in Badriya. I actually have been trying to push football beyond what we can do just online, like the crazy videos, the great content. It's about empowering the community and going back to what TikTok is, content and community. If we take care of these two, we can do amazing things. And we're not done yet, to be honest. We're still, as TikTok, exploring what TikTok can do more. TikTok hasn't reached its like zenith or climax into what it can offer back to the community. I'm not talking about the virality or the views or being famous on TikTok. TikTok as a platform still has a lot to offer back to the community, and we're just exploring the tip of the iceberg at this stage. Uh, Banaat FC, as Badria mentioned, at least in the region, and I'm 99% sure we have no endorsement on the jersey as a main sponsor at this stage or as we speak of today, but for Banaat FC, which would give us a privilege to actually be accepted as the sponsors of such a women's initiative and women football. And it's still one of the most or proudest things I've ever done while I've served like some time in TikTok so far. Uh, we would love to actually go and put our logo on each jersey all over the world, right? But we've been too selective, and we have our reasons why, which I mentioned earlier on. And it's not about being present on the jersey or as a sponsor for every football club on planet Earth. It's about with whom we're working and what we can actually offer back, not just our brand present and looking cool. It's actually finding the right partner. And Banat FC was an opportunity to actually partner with the right people who have a vision and who can actually create amazing, as Badria mentioned, from down upwards rather than just waiting for one decision or one conclusion about like, let's do something about women's football. We want to be part of the journey going upwards and hopefully sharing the message about what the importance of women's football is, and that to explore also what TikTok can do in football and in women football. We're still exploring it. We're not done yet. As I said, we're still at the tip of the iceberg, and it's a privilege to be recognized as a supporter of football or women football, especially in this region.
Budreya because of this collaboration with TikTok and what she thinks about social media and the importance of social media, and also if you can share with us and the audience your upcoming objectives for Banaat Football Club.
Sure. So my entire career has been in the football world and mainly in marketing. So my goal throughout my career since I've started has been to elevate the representation of Arab football. So obviously my biggest tool or my biggest platforms here are social media, all different platforms. Started doing it when I was working in the league and then Al Ahli Club, and then through my own company, Goes Concept, where I managed athletes and helped maybe create some athlete brands for the first time in the region, which should tell you that I believe social media is extremely important. And I've been in the business of working with clubs and federations, with the brands such as Nike, Adidas, and everyone, and creating campaigns that mainly live on social, or consulting the clubs on their brand image, their branding, their social media. And I think part of actually the biggest reason I started this club was through a frustration that I saw on my way back from Egypt, where I was filming a campaign. I saw an account from one of the biggest clubs in the region had posted something in a format that is considered ancient, not following best practices in any way. And I found it to be extremely frustrating that at this level, with this much attention, money, eyes on you, celebrities playing for your club, you're still not doing the basics to represent your club in the best way possible, because image, it's not everything, but it's extremely important. And through that, I felt like instead of getting frustrated over and over by what the clubs are or are not doing, since I have no control even when I consult with the clubs, that I will create a club that will eventually, for me, and I believe, will become the benchmark of Arab football representation, not specifically for women. I'm trying to build something that will become the benchmark across both, without needing all the biggest resources in the world. Like, you don't need the biggest agencies and budgets and everything to create something that shows the best that this country or this region and the sport has to offer. So if that answers your question, I believe it
It
is
does.
extremely important. In
It
fact,
does.
all
It
my
does.
to sign contracts that state that they must post 3 times a week about Banaat FC. They must have public social media accounts, which is extremely rare also in this region to find
Yeah.
women, Emirati women with these cultural backgrounds and barriers that I mentioned that have to be active, because to me, they are the faces and they are the voices and the soldiers for women's football. And this club is bigger than them, and they're here to fight for everyone else to get an opportunity next year. But if they do it behind
Because
closed
they
doors and show what they have, no one else is going to follow through. So,
Exactly, because they become an inspiration, right? So inspirational leaders, and it's very important to have them physically and promoting themselves through a media such as social media.